Budgeting for retirement. Retirement can last decades, and at Client First Capital, it is our goal to make sure that you're financially prepared for whatever it is you need and the road ahead. Retirement is typically seen as a succession of phases with different goals, spending priorities, and budgeting needs. So let's run through some tips that we use at Client First Capital with our clients. So the first part of retirement is actually pre-retirement, so let's call this phase 1. So for individuals ages 50 to 62, you're still working, but retirement is approaching and you're getting a clearer picture of what your nest egg will look like and how much income you'll have, but most importantly, how you want to spend this time. It is key to assess your likelihood of stable income and expenses after you exit the workforce, because you may want to make bigger purchases while you still have that income and can pay down some of that debt. You're also getting closer to figuring out what you'll do with your days once you're free to fill them as you please. And we've created the Next Decade Planning Worksheet. It's a workbook based off of all the research for the best retirement, connection to wealth, and engagement towards the end of retirement. And we took all that research, bundled it down to a quick 6-page workbook. I highly recommend it. You can find it in the links below. Phase 2. So phase 2 is the early period of retirement. So this is the first part of retirement, let's say age 62 to age 70. This is when the biggest change in your budget will likely occur. Remember, when you're going into retirement, and your to-do list is done, every day is Saturday. And on Saturdays we typically spend money. And while you have the mobility and the ability to, it's really important to focus on doing things that you want to do. So if that's from travel to golf to sailing, whatever it is. But here is also a time to consider at the end of my days, at the end of the plan, what is the safety margin that I want? And will I be on track to still be within that safety margin with the spending that I'm doing today? Phase 3 is actually the middle of retirement. So ages 70 to 80. You think about this is where you're running, you've hit your stride, now you have a set schedule, there's a lot more consistency and rhythm to your days. You also at age 72 have to start taking required minimum distributions. For certain types of accounts, specifically profit sharing, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, but you don't from Roth IRAs. It's a good time to kind of revisit your distribution strategy, your overall asset allocation, making sure your downside risk appetite matches what you're comfortable with. And if you haven't done so already, you're probably at the point where making sure your will and estate plan, and if anything needs to be changed within these documents, that you start making those changes now. And then phase 4 is the late part of retirement. This is towards the end of retirement, 80 and up. You may have increased medical expenses, you may have healthcare costs, but the biggest expense we see around this age group is actually care. And I want to make it very simple. So if you don't die, you will need more help. How are you going to pay for that help? And this could be something as getting groceries, driving around to doctor's appointments or whatnot, or maybe cutting the grass or fixing plumbing leaks in the house. Where are you going to get that help? I'm not saying that you need insurance, but you need to have a plan. But typically, long-term care insurance, this is where it tends to be a focus. If you did need help, how would you pay for that care? Obviously, legacy planning, and if you have a charitable intent, really starts to come into focus now. And if you like to give while you're living, this is the time to do it and maximize the tax benefits along the way from your gifts, charitable gifts. If you're working with a financial advisor or professional that isn't connecting the dots between the different types of spending behaviors in retirement, or isn't connecting the dots between your investments, your taxes, and estate planning, please reach out to us. Thank you.